I'm gonna make this series where I go online every day and talk about my updates after being unemployed. So I'm kind of laid over, cut after teaching for around a year and a half at USC in the engineering departments. And right now I don't have a job as a PhD, as a doctoral graduate. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do now. I'm just applying to jobs, see how things go. I do have a little bit of savings, so that's fine. I can handle myself. That's not the issue here. It's interesting how someone with a PhD in engineering doesn't have a job right now. I did apply to a bunch of colleges and around the Los Angeles area. I applied to like five or six, and I didn't hear back from them. I applied back in March, so it's all because of those federal cuts that colleges have been dealing with, and it affected me. It was kind of expected that I was gonna be unemployed for the summer, for probably even before the cuts happened, due to my immigration status, and then the fact that the department would have to give me more than one class for me to satisfy the requirements. So I guess they had to deal with that, and they were like, okay, we don't want to worry too much about it. So I guess that played a role as well. But yeah, we'll see how things go out. I'm eligible to apply for my green card soon, and hopefully when I receive it, things will get better. But I just want to teach. Like, I kind of don't want to get into industry. I don't want to do this 9 to 5 thing. So we'll see how my applications for the colleges will go. I literally applied to all the colleges in LA, in the LA area: UCLA, LMU, Glendale, LACC, Santa Monica. But yeah, we'll see. In the meantime, I did apply for unemployment, obviously. I do have some contractors work on the side, but I feel that it's interesting. It's kind of not what I want to do. I'm For those of you who don't know me yet, I want to be an actor, so I'm doing comedy. I got a sold out show last month, so that was good. Obviously, it's hard for me still to sell out every show I do because my audience is limited. They're not gonna come back to just listen to the same jokes every time. So I like the flexibility that teaching gives me, so I'm hoping to be back to that soon. And in the meantime, yeah, probably just do some contracting work. I'm following the crypto market, and I'm working on my book actually. So for those of you who don't know, I published the book back in 2023, and actually let me show the link for that. And let me share my screen. So, because I minored in linguistics back in undergrad, I decided to apply the things I learned to Denis Villeneuve's movies, especially since I speak Arabic and French. And this is the book that I published back in 2023. I'm actually happy. I sold like 12 copies in the first year or so. But then his latest movie, June 2, was released in 2024. So I stopped selling because the book kind of became outdated. So I'm working on adding this extra chapter to the book, hoping to be done with it at the end of the summer. It's interesting because when I wrote my book, I did not use ChatGPT. It was still not didn't have this big hype because it only got released like in December 2022. I didn't know about it yet because in the couple of months before publishing, I was just focusing on proofreading and stuff. So Now with ChatGPT and LLMs, it's gonna be easier for me to edit, and I'm probably gonna edit the whole thing from scratch. Make sure that my sentence structure is correct, because as I was reading it with fresher eyes, I kind of didn't like my English in it. So I'm gonna have to fix that, and maybe also publish a French version. It'll be easier to translate with LLMs. So yeah, probably work on my book. Follow the crypto market. Actually, let's take a look quickly at what I've been thinking of doing. So we did break all-time high last week, and it was a little fishy, because we were rallying from the bottom from the tariffs crash up until breaking all-time high at 112, and that didn't make sense to me at all because we didn't pull back at all. This is why I was waiting for a dip to buy. I was waiting for a dip to buy, and I was actually planning the short somewhere here, hoping it would hit 110. It did not hit 110. I kind of expected a pullback, but I wasn't able to open my short, so it is what it is. I was kind of expecting this dip. I was just waiting for the good entry, I guess. I shouldn't have done that, but it is what it is. It's part of the game. This pullback was expected because here it was a little shallow. You'll notice that if you were following the price, you'll notice that it was trying to push above 110, but it just wasn't able to do that. It was just lots of hype, but price isn't changing. So there was a divergence, right? So when you have this type of divergence, you might expect some sort of end of a trend or some sort of reversal, but it is what it is. At least I knew to exit. I was opening a breakout trade somewhere here. I knew to exit that. Now I'm waiting for a good point of entry. If it bounces up to 1.9 or 1.10, I'm gonna open a short. I know of that, but we'll see how things go. Yeah, this is actually related to the whole jobs thing because the idea is that Trump was cutting all the weird expenses that were happening in the government, right? And by the way, let me give you an example from my own country, Lebanon. So, there's something called US Aid, where the US funds a bunch of projects everywhere in the world. And there was this one guy who had kind of like the biggest chunk of US Aid treasury under his hands back in Lebanon from the Lebanese part. And we're talking like millions of dollars, okay? It's not like, I know Lebanon is a small country, but we're talking millions of dollars. And he was using these funds, okay, for political reasons. You might say, okay, the US has a political agenda. We know that. That's kind of a great area. You can give it to him, but a lot of those money were used for like projects to build buildings that he eventually owned, which is really weird. Okay, so yeah, a lot of the government funds were weirdly spent and randomly spent. So the Trump was trying to cut all of these things, okay, and because there's a lot of reckless spending, which is leading to inflation, which is a lot of problems, right? So he cut the funds, which led to less people getting paid, which led to the markets crashing on the shorter term because those people that were expecting to get paid, they weren't. So if they were continuously investing, they stopped doing that, or they ended up just selling their assets because they need the money. So this led to the market. This is one of the reasons that led to the market crash back in April. And so cutting government expenses leads to cutting the federal funds for universities, which kind of led to me being unemployed right now. And I think obviously a lot of universities, they went on a hiring freeze, right? So that's one thing. That's why I'm still probably didn't hear back from all the universities I applied to in LA. So yeah, in the meantime, apply for. I'm eligible to apply for the green card next week. Hopefully, I'm talking with my lawyers to get my paperwork done faster, and I'm doing some contracting work. I'm following the crypto market, and I'm working on my book. So yeah, we'll see how things go. I'll keep you all updated. I'm gonna try to do this every day, and if you have any questions, always feel free to put them in the chat or as a comment. I mean, I noticed that no one's watching anyway, so one maybe we'll grow bigger soon. Anyway, thank you everyone for your support, and see you all tomorrow.